Call the Selectmen's meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is public hearings. First one is Eric Wild, located at 477 Wiscasset Road, Boothbay, map R6, lot 24, applying for a special amusement permit, class C and D.
So the application's been received, payment's been made, but like I was discussing earlier, we received a note. We are on the Eric Wild one, right? Yeah. A note from Joan Riddle, which is the property that's going to be located, that she no longer wants it there. Other than that, all I know is what's in the application form. So with Joan's discussion, and Bonnie made a special effort to call me after hours to make sure I got that note. I would recommend denial or table until you have more appropriate information.
I'd recommend tabling the application so Mr. Wild can get his money back. If he wants to move forward, it'll just be a denial where the property owner doesn't want it there, and then he loses money. But I'd rather see him get it back by withdrawal.
Go ahead. You need to stand up and tell us your name, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Eric. I met with Scott this morning, and he's mowing the field. I know his mom should be well informed, and I know, to the best of my knowledge, they have a good relationship with one another. So I can give him a call now.
I spoke to Joan Riddle at 10 after 6 this evening, and she told me that she was told by Scott that the event had been canceled.
I met with him I met with him today,
When's the date of this?
2 Saturdays. Not this coming, but the following Saturday.
In 2 weeks. So if you don't get approval tonight, you won't have another meeting in order.
I know. Should I just leave and call him and try to get them to call you by the end of this meeting? Or?
That's up to these guys.
I know when I was talking to Joan, she only had a couple of minutes to talk to me because she was going out to dinner.
So the reality of it is, if Joan is the property owner, it has to come from Joan and not her son, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the property owner
Right.
has to give consent.
Right.
So, I mean, her son wouldn't do us any good. We would need.
But if I called him, he could call her to call you, right?
Sure.
I don't want to shut them down, but I mean, we're on the 11th hour here. I mean, we've got a meeting to go through.
Yeah, I understand that. This is all news to me, that's all.
Is there opposition that if you can get back here in a timely fashion, we'll revisit this?
My only opposition would be, I spoke to Joan Riddle on the phone.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, if he goes through the footwork and Joan comes back with the same answer, or he doesn't get in touch with Joan, then it's a dead issue anyway.
We could approve it pending a letter signed by Joan. Approving right?
You can do a conditional approval.
And that would be a condition, at least that way, because if it isn't signed by her, Scott doesn't do us any good.
You know, I do understand Mr. Wild's conundrum right now. As I said, I spoke to Joan Riddle at 10 after 6.
That soon, huh? That's like just a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you're under an hour.
Maybe she's had to change her mind, but
Should I give him a call?
I don't even know where to go with this.
I mean, Steve's onto something. If you're inclined to approve with conditions, or give authority to the chairman to approve at a later date based on some conditions, that's procedurally okay. But I mean, you have a lot of unknowns.
There's a bunch of them.
Right.
What is it? It's just gonna be a,
It's just like a concert. It's just, and on the application I wrote till 1, but I only want to go to 11 anyway. It'll just be a concert from 5 to 11.
it stops at 11 anyways, correct? That's what I
What
did.
day is Friday, Saturday? I think it's 11. I think most of the week it's 10. Could be 10:30 on the weekends.
Well, if we were gonna entertain this conditional, what would be the conditions? Obviously, Joan's signature that says she's okay with the concert. What else?
I would make a motion we approve if we get written consent from the property owner.
And change the schedule
And change the, from
5 to
5 to
11.
1 to 5 to 11.
PM.
Yep.
That's a motion?
Yes.
If
Make a motion.
consent from owner and change the time to
Change the
11
time
p.m.
from 5 to 1 AM, from 5 PM to 11 PM.
I've made the change on my form.
We have a motion.
With those conditions, I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
As I said, I spoke to John less than an hour ago. So,
So at least we're putting,
and
That's
I
the
understand the
problem.
predicament that it's put Mr. Wild in, but having spoken to the property owner,
And trust me, if Joan's mind doesn't change, then Mr. Wild's no further along than he is right now. So, I mean, I think we're okay as long as we leave the conditions in place.
I just feel strongly that you have to have her permission. It's only because it's her property.
Oh, yeah.
there's no feeling strongly about it, that's the way it is.
Right.
Right. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed just because I talked to Joe.
Just mine, just because I wrote the change on it.
Okay. Do you want to, there's no restriction on here though as far as a condition letter from,
I was gonna take the conditions.
okay,
as-
so we probably shouldn't sign this yet then? Or yes?
What's that?
We probably shouldn't sign this yet?
Oh, no, you're right.
I wouldn't sign it until you get
Exactly.
Come in, go to days. Yeah, yeah.
Next up is Friends of Ty Daughters, Inc., Patricia Zinkowski, located at 60 Kimbletown Road, map R1, lot 126, special amusement permit, class C.
So the permit's been received and payment's been made. Once again, this is kind of a different special amusement than all the rest that we do, which are usually renewals. So all I know is what's in the advertisement there, but I know Bonnie discussed with the applicant quite a few things. And the only reason why this becomes a special amusement is because it's exchange of money, otherwise it would be a private party. So that's all I know.
There is a mistake on the application,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the date of the planned entertainment is stated as 7/2 on the application, it's actually 8/2 according to the advertisement.
So if you approve with changes, I've made the change on the form.
Is there anyone here to speak for this?
I would say no.
I would say that they're out of, I can't remember now, where it said they're out of Texas, and my guess is they'll be here on the 2nd. I'm assuming.
Taking it first.
Yeah.
My only concern on this one is, I'll be honest, I'm not really familiar with Kimbletown Road, but is there ample parking for a fundraiser?
I mean, there's, privately, I suspect there's ample parking if they want to put them onto fields or lawns or whatever. But publicly, there's not, I mean, I know we've got Port of Preserve on there, but, I mean, on a good day, you might get 8, 9 cars in there, and that's gonna,
I don't know how far down 60 Kimbletown Road even is.
No, and, parking should be something we have on our application form here. It's kind of an old form we've been using for a long time.
Well, if we're gonna be getting into this sort of thing, I would agree with you, but most of the time, it's a business coming to us
Right.
to hold a special amusement. And that parking really isn't the issue. with the
generally is
business.
an issue at that point in time.
Yeah, but I mean, you could put a simple, if required, attached parking plan, something like that. And so if you are concerned with parking and that's the limiting concern, then you could do another condition that they provide some kind of parking plan that's reviewed by somebody.
Who would do that? You or the code office?
I'll tell you, why have me do it? Well, I guess we both do it. I mean, we're talking about road and private. If it passes both of us, then.
Code or foreman, I mean,
I guess
What's that?
the code.
Mike or Dan.
Yeah, I was thinking road commissioner usually makes road decisions, the code enforcement officer makes parking decisions. Between the two of them, you've got enough knowledge there to make a decision.
Really, I guess our biggest concern would be getting a fire truck down that way if we had to, right?
I'd
And
block the road off, yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard enough without anybody on the
Right.
side of the roads.
Especially Kimballtown, it's not a very big road.
No.
So what's your pleasure?
Do we wanna put that as a stipulation, that they show us a parking plan? They show us what they're planning on doing for parking? I mean, for a fundraiser?
What I envision is a sketch that we just verify the dimensions.
I think what we need to do basically is state that they can't do any street parking. I mean, they gotta be able to park off the road. And if they can accommodate that,
Because their solution may be park in a public lot and ferry.
and truck
people.
everybody in, right?
And that's pretty credible.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
So,
if they packed up at the church,
You can back up the chances, the old school.
shuttle people
Yeah.
down.
What do you got on the document? 32 that's taken, so.
Well, I would move we approve, as long as there's a parking plan approved by the code enforcement and the road commissioner.
second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Who seconded that?
I
Dale.
You got to talk louder.
Dale.
I gotta speak up.
Yes, so. Is this the,
That's the one where I
okay, that's,
changed the
yeah,
date on it.
but it doesn't have the conditions, so nobody.
Yeah, that needed to be another condition to that, to change the date on the
You
application.
changed it.
Oh, right, right.
You changed it.
Do you need to make,
Amend that motion.
Yes.
You need to amend your motion.
Oh, that's right, we need to change the date to 8/2 rather than 7/2 also.
Yeah.
Still second it.
with the same conditions?
Yep, yep.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
One last time.
Next up is the Harbor Fest 5K.
It's not on your agendas. I added it on at the last minute.
I have additional handouts with that one sheet.
Sure, we'll pay for it, I'll take it.
Thanks, sir. If I can, Steve. I would say just give everybody a rundown of what you're looking to do.
Okay. We are looking to hold a 5K run, it's a 3-mile run in conjunction with the Summer Fest for the weekend. We've got scheduled the weekend of September 27th through the 29th. We're hoping to hold it at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to be a loop run starting at the Craft Brewery, running up Route 27 to Adams Pond Road and back to the brewery. So we're looking at potentially for the parking, we're looking at using the Boothbay Fire Department. We're also in touch with the trolley, the rock tide, for any overflow that might happen and using additional public parking and being able to shuttle people to the brewery. All the proceeds for this is an independent fundraiser for the Dempsey Challenge. The Dempsey Challenge raises funds for the Dempsey Center for Cancer, Hope and Healing in Lewiston, Maine. And Jerry and I are part of the Dempsey team, the Diet Neck Gang, so we've had multiple fundraisers throughout the year, and we've been really successful. We have an ultimate goal of $10,000 by October, and we're right around $3,100 right now. We've got a big event coming up in just 2
Next
weeks.
week.
Yes. For traffic control on Route 27, we have tight ties with the Boothbay Fire Department, and our hopes, we already have volunteers for help with traffic control where they're trained. We also have, for brief Frank, we're going to listen to the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, oh, do you want me to do that? Sure.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
let's talk.
We have all kinds of volunteers already on board to help with any type of traffic control and helping with the runners throughout the course.
Yeah, this is all like a preliminary sketch. We go up, we call and said, hey, will you? Yes, we will, if.
Yes, everybody's on board and ready to go if
Right.
to get approval. For liability, I attached an example of a waiver that will require everybody to sign in order to participate, and it releases any type of risk to be associated with the running event to be assumed by the participant, and that way it relieves the town and any property owners of any type of injury during the event. That's what we're looking to do.
Sounds like you've done a lot of planning for it.
Well, the one thing that I wanted to really touch on was shutting down 27. We thought about this last night. We're like, if we're gonna do that, we want it to be the shortest amount of time possible. So therefore, that's why we started the run going up 27. Because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have, most of your people are gonna run it in 20 to 24 minutes. You're gonna have 27 open back up in half an hour. And you're still only rerouting traffic just down around Harvard Road.
That's just less than a mile going from the
Right.
brewery up 27 to Adams Pond.
If we did it the other way, you'd have to shut it down for an hour and a half. So it's like, well,
You're gonna shut down both lanes or look to have traffic on one side only?
I'm thinking it probably would be safer to shut down both, just in the event of anything.
That's
If we could just
open for-
reroute it. It's definitely open to suggestions.
The town doesn't really have the authority to shut down 27,
No,
Right,
but we can do traffic,
like a detour.
traffic detours and
Yeah.
stuff like that, as long as we work with Lincoln County and the state of Maine.
Right, right.
You take the one they have down, the big one down here every year, and they shut 27 down, it's minimal.
It's
To
minimal.
get it started,
Yeah.
basically, until all the runners
Exactly.
kind of get off the beaten path.
And I really think 20 to 25, if we did it the other way, it would be tricky because now you have to wait for some people are slow, some people are fast. So you gotta wait for all of those people
Everybody will get to
clear.
the north end of
Exactly.
Adams Pond.
That
Yeah.
time of year, too, it shouldn't be quite as bad as it would be in August.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Who do they get approval from to be able to shut down, or it wouldn't be us?
No, we'd have to contact DOT, which I got invited to one of the pre-planning meetings with one of their team partners this weekend, and I was going to encourage them to come to the Selectmen as soon as possible, and because with your blessing and with your permissions, there's a lot we can do to help an event like this with very little cost. If Public Works wants to cone, then that's going to reduce cost for them, which costs us nearly, it's insignificant.
Right.
We have lots of firefighters that are well-trained in traffic control. You guys hold the reins to Adams Pond Road, so you can do whatever you want with Adams Pond Road.
Right.
So, if you endorse this event and vote to give the town, vote to have the town support it, there's a lot we can do with minimal cost.
That'd be tremendously helpful too, because everything that we do what we've been trying to do is get a lot of stuff donated. And in order to be able to get back to our charitable, the Dempsey Challenge, it's hard for us to pull money out and then turn around, well, we spent 500, we only made 600, so is it really worth it? You know how it works.
Everybody at Lowe's is already
Yeah.
waiting to donate T-shirts and just to make this a wonderful event, and it really ties nicely with the Summerfest, especially where events will be happening Friday.
Harborfest.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not a fest,
Friday and Saturday, the events are happening in Boothbay Harbor, and then Sunday, it looks like they're trying to coordinate barbecue, so this would happen right before the barbecue and tie in really nicely.
Sounds to me like it's a good event. It would tie in with everything else that's being planned, so I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Sounds like it would be great.
Awesome.
So I'll be your point of contact.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Very much so.
Public comment? Public.
Come on. Okay.
If I'm gonna bring a letter for you guys, who would I bring it to?
Jim.
Okay, and I can just stop in and give it to you.
Yes.
I would
Thank
almost
you,
think
guys.
it would be more
My business
pleasurable.
card's right on the outside window.
Yeah, Jones.
So I'll go
Okay.
way out.
Joan should bring it in.
Thank you guys very much.
Actually, Eric, I think it would be better, Joan's out and around enough, she should bring it in.
Okay.
That, you know what I mean? If
Yeah,
she's out
yeah,
running,
no,
she can
I'm-
drop it by.
I wanna do what you
Right.
guys tell me to do.
No, we understand, but that way, if Joan brings it in, there's no question.
Right.
Yeah.
Joan's decision to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you guys.
You're welcome. Somebody else?
You don't have to be operated this.
When?
Just a quick question in reference to this. Is there any permits that Boothbay Craft Brewery, the venue, needs to acquire to hold an event like this or host it? Or is it fall on them? It's probably on, right? So.
Yeah, we'll have to strategize and figure out, kind of do all the tests of the
Yeah.
special amusement, which you've had in the past, so it might be relatively easy to get a special amusement permitted again.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Next up is approve the minutes of the previous meeting from 7/10/2013.
So, yeah, made a couple of edits based on comments from Steve.
But we've got the corrected ones, correct?
Yes, you have the corrected ones.
I would move we approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any more comments?
What was the correction?
Crooker was misspelled.
There was only one O in Crooker, is the only thing.
Yeah, just little stuff.
At least.
That's why it wasn't worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Spelling wasn't as strong.
Stuff that only Steve would find.
Douglas is now Burnham again.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, reports, Jim.
First, and I just threw this on top with some of the recent occurrences, our goals and objectives workshop that we had scheduled several meetings ago has been set aside. I would like to set another meeting so that we can do goals and objectives for this fiscal year. If you have thoughts, it'd be great. We could ink something out.
Let's say the next meeting.
Next meeting.
Can we do it a little early, maybe?
Do
A workshop?
A workshop at 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Is that, anybody on a Wednesday, is that gonna be hard to get here at 6?
And we could do a little advance work, you know, just send you guys just a memo worksheet to get you prepared.
Yep.
And then when we show up, we'll have everything organized, ready to go. So 6 o'clock at the next meeting,
Which is the 14th.
August 14th.
I think it's 14. Wouldn't it be the 7th?
It's the second and fourth, right?
Second.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's throwing me off. It's 2 weeks. Never mind.
Next, under reports, I was supposed to give you a better briefing on this. I think I've talked to some of you individually. But there's a local effort right now on the getting away together. I put the information in your packet, and I've gone to a couple of their meetings. And, you know, it's one of those grassroots local efforts that you're not sure how much people are going to get behind, but also one of those efforts that I've seen quickly take off in the Boothbay area. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a TV series, a PBS TV series called Getting Away Together to feature Boothbay. So they're doing fundraising for this, and I said that I would bring it to the Boothbay Selectmen, kind of in the same light that we did with the Chamber of Commerce walking map about a year ago, where we used that as kind of somebody else's project to kind of throw a little bit of money at, to do a little bit of an economic development. I'm less, I'm less involved with the Getting Away Together than I was with the walking map a year ago, but I think it has a lot of potential. So I wanted to throw it in front of you guys and see what you thought.
You keep saying they. Who are they?
It's a good question. They is a kind of a conglomerate of a lot of people, much like most of these grassroots efforts. But Cottage Connections is heading it up, but it's not really theirs. They're pulling in everybody. So they had their first meeting at the Chamber of Commerce. Ryan, did you do a piece on it as well?
Yes, I did.
Right, yeah, a piece in the Register kind of about getting away together. Lots of local innkeepers, hotels and restaurateurs were at that meeting. So saying they is my cover of saying I didn't know everybody at the meeting. And if you want to know more, we can arrange to have somebody come in and do a briefing. But I know that they're trying to push real hard on trying to get money to arrange this. And it is one of those situations where I'm sure there's a lot of New England towns that can arrange for money quicker and may jump in front of us. So I'm not sure what the realization of the project is, but you know, sometimes a little bit of a kick from the town shows people commitment and allows these projects to get going.
In reading down through the information that you provided to us, it all talks about the Boothbay region. Are the other two towns in the region going to be kicking in some money as well?
No, not that I know of, but I did volunteer. If Boothbay takes a lead-in role, then I would be happy to go to other selectmen's meetings and say what Boothbay is doing, and that starts a domino. But I had no authority to say that at the time.
I have no problem taking a little bit of a contingency as we did last year for the walking mat. The walking mat helped match some of the funds from Boothbay businesses to go onto that map to help them. My only thought is where this is a Boothbay region group effort, that the other two towns should be kicking in a little bit as well. I have no problem putting money in to help Boothbay businesses and Boothbay residents using Boothbay tax money, but I don't think that we should be spending Boothbay tax dollars to help fund an effort in Boothbay Harbor and Southport.
What happens if we don't get the 55,000? Or what happens if they don't get the 55,000?
Yeah, where does the money
It
go?
doesn't happen.
Oh, where does the money go?
But, I
That they
mean, we
raise?
make a contribution, we don't meet the goal of 55,000, do we get it back?
I don't know the answer.
You're probably gonna pledge.
But you could,
Why don't we make
That's what-
that a condition?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, my philosophy is a little different than Chuck. I have no problem being the front runner, the horse out in front saying, we'll make the initial donation from the town, and maybe we can get some of the other towns to jump in, shit, maybe we do, maybe we don't, it doesn't really bother me, but, what I am concerned about, if we make whatever, I'm not even gonna put a nominal amount on it, but we make a donation of any kind, they don't get their 55K, and we don't see our money.
you know, there's inventive ways of using economic development money, kind of like we did with the walking map last year. We matched local businesses, so that sparked more local businesses to put more money into that project.
Right.
You could do something similar here, where you could match local businesses up to a cap point, and then contingent on the fact that the project goes. If the project doesn't go, you know, get your money.
Put out a business challenge, so to speak.
Yeah,
What did we cap it at last year for the walking mat?
we didn't cap.
I don't think we can.
I don't think we officially capped it, but we did the advanced math, and we knew it wasn't going to cost us any more than $2,000, but we ended up spending something like $1,200, $1,400. It was really successful too. A lot of the businesses that were already participating went in at a higher level with a bigger spread. Some businesses that weren't going to participate at all went into the walking map, so it was really good. And some, I don't know this for a fact, but you know, I've heard that some of the businesses that did it last year are maintaining their advertising space.
Right.
I'm scratching my head.
I think where we did it last year to help Boothbay businesses, and I like your idea, Jim, of the matching. I think that we do something along those lines again this year, some sort of a matching grant up to a total of, you said last year we talked about $2,000, I'd say we go the same amount. We do have plenty of money in contingency, correct?
We budgeted $10,000 for contingency, so you know we hardly ever really tap that fund. So
There's been a little bit come out of that already.
yeah, a little bit comes out, but we never come close to using it all. And then that money goes into the undesignated fund at the end.
And where this is gonna benefit not just Boothbay businesses, but Boothbay residents as well, I'll make that a motion. As long as the money is refunded to us if they don't reach the goal and aren't picked.
Okay, now second.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve up to $2,000 with the conditions. Any more discussion? All those in favor? I just want to point out Douglas so it's spent money.
Don't kick a sleeping dog.
Jesus, no.
Thank you. Also on reports, and once again, I put that under reports because I wasn't trying to imply that we'd have action, but you can have action anytime in the meeting. Comprehensive Planning Committee had their public forum. It was really well attended. The Register did a really good article on it. The survey that I showed you some of the results has been decided to keep that survey up. So if you haven't replied to the Comprehensive Planning Committee's survey, you can still go to the Town of Boothbay website, which is just townofboothbay.org. Right on the front page, you can answer that survey. I think the last I saw it was somewhere around 230 respondents, which is pretty darn good. I know we're very happy with it. The consultant and I are really happy with that kind of
Well, the
response.
committee is happy with it as well. I mean, considering how hot it was in the firehouse that night, it was an extremely good turnout. The entire town was well represented, a lot of good ideas, and it appears that the folks that showed up thought that the comp plan is on the right path.
Yeah.
So that was real encouraging, not just to myself, but to the committee as a whole.
The survey is also designed to pull people into the process, and I think it's been very successful in that. Lots of people are starting to ask about the comp plan and how it gets implemented. Also in your packet is the PowerPoint that Mark delivered in the presentation. A lot of demographic generated information on what Boothbay is right now. Some of the statistics are pretty eye-opening. Some of them we know, but have never seen it in print or in statistics. This PowerPoint is on the website also, right in the same place as the survey. We've taken that box, which used to be a picture on the website. We're going to utilize it as the comprehensive planning, the comp plan kind of section, so we can stage some information there now that people are getting more interested in the process. And maybe when some of the draft sections become available, maybe we stage those there for people to get involved. Chuck, do you have anything else to add? You're the chairman of the Comprehensive Planning Committee.
I would say nothing more than I've already added this evening.
Sounds like it's well on its way.
It's coming along very well. Hiring Mark was the right move for the town.
Under the heading of watershed inventory report, last night, Art Dunlap, our code enforcement officer, and me went to the Boothbay Region Water District trustees meeting and informed them of the progress of this watershed inventory project that we've been doing as part of our cooperative cost share agreement and code enforcement. They were very satisfied with what we've done for them. A copy of the watershed inventory report as it stands right now is in your packets. It's actually outdated since every time Art's here, he updates more and more properties. The theory is that, and we reiterated this at the meeting because they have new trustees, there was new press since we started this process. The theory is that we have all of the drinking water for the region in Boothbay. So to maintain enforcement action on the watershed area is sometimes a burden for just Boothbay, even though everybody enjoys the water in Boothbay Harbor and Southport. So we've come up with this agreement, started in '03, reformatted last year to share some of the costs of that enforcement with the water district. To make sure that agreement is provided in full on our half, we've started some really easy to maintain programs. The first one being that we report monthly to the water district on any building permits or trouble calls that we get that affect the watershed area. On any given month, there might be nothing. But like we said to the trustees, is a verified number. There's not something going on that you're wondering about. There is literally no permitted activity going on. So if they see something, they can report it to us. We can enforce that. Now, not only do we know nothing's being added without our purview, but here is how it actually stands in this report. So you have current day, and we have forward-looking, because it's a pretty good inventory on septics, fuel sources, things that could have a real hindrance on the watershed and be a burden for Boothbay, Boothbay Harbor, and Southport are all water district users. Any questions on this? Let's see. Department heads, we did a mishmash department head meeting because I was in training today. The major thing going on in the business office is obviously tax receipting, which has escalated and hopefully escalates more in the coming weeks. In assessing, obviously after commitment, that's when people pay a lot of attention to their assessment. So they've been busy the last couple of weeks. We're in our summer months, so code enforcement has been really busy as well, handling a lot of permits, which is promising. It's nice to see development happening at an aggressive rate. Skimming down, I didn't highlight or anything like that. On the topic of code enforcement, but not really, we met with the planning board and talked about vacancies and how we're going to fill those. Obviously, I get a recommendation to you guys on filling appointments. So I talked to the planning board and said I want their help. So we're going to recruit them to look at the applications that come in, and as the applications come in, we'll bring a united recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. We've received 3 applications to date, but the advertisement's only been out there for a little while, so hopefully more to report soon. The Lincoln County annual report came in today. Last year it went kind of unreviewed, so if you guys want to see it, I'll keep it in my office. And then one last thing, and like sometimes I like to demonstrate what our, well, I'm sorry, not the last thing, but nearly the last thing. Sometimes I like to demonstrate how hard our employees work. One of the things that the assessor does is keeps track of all mapping changes that you have to do in any given year. So I just wanted to show you, this is all the mapping changes that Mike has done in this year. Every line consists of a mapping change. So we're talking about, what, 8 pages of mapping changes? A lot of work. We're really happy with how that contract is playing out. And I just wanted to demonstrate. If you guys want more information on that, I can report.
Were all those changes from this past year?
No. Probably about 4 years worth of changes. The last thing to report there, I sent this electronically to the Board of Selectmen and the Comprehensive Planning Committee. Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission and Bob Fonts is going to have a joint Board of Selectmen meeting on the 29th. So next Monday. Has invited us all to attend. I did tell him that it was kind of short notice and I'm not sure what kind of attendance we'll get there, but I sent it out anyway and I wanted to make sure that I reminded everybody.
Well, I know at Monday night's Boothbay Harbor Selectmen meeting, Tom announced that we were having a joint meeting, but
And this is about flood
this
zone?
is the same thing that Bob Fonts came and he put the PowerPoint up
Right.
there, the 100-year flood.
Sea level rise.
Yes, thank you.
Riveting stuff. Since the selectmen don't really have to sign off on it, you don't have any requirement to be there. And I did let them know that.
What is this funded by?
Our tax
Our
dollars.
tax
Yeah, but how?
dollars,
Is it local?
this is
It
state
isn't
money.
locally.
No, I think sea level rise is a federal grant. I can research that for
State and
you.
federal wasted money.
Just curious if my kids are gonna, or my kids' kids are gonna be able to go lobstering on the common.
It probably won't be your kids' kids, it'll probably be their kids. It'll be long
The
enough.
selectmen meetings in the harbor are fun, so you might want to go.
You wait till the
And your
public
point
session.
is?
Yeah, they're good.
Very good.
You know, if you guys want more information on sea level rise, you want me to arrange another meeting that we could
But
get
that's
back
not
to.
one of the normal meetings, right?
No,
Isn't it?
No.
So,
no,
Is this money?
this Monday.
what time? 6:30?
You gonna go and represent?
Bob usually brings food.
He does bring food.
Yeah.
He's never brought food to our meeting.
I had enough food this weekend.
I'm upset now.
Send that
He
designated
brought cannolis to
representative.
my commission, some good cannolis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
He's
is
gotta
it just
justify-
Boothbay Harbor, or is Southport gonna be there as well?
He gave us actually, this is Lincoln County Regional Planning.
He needs to
Commission.
justify his
Southport has
existence.
their meeting on 9/4, so. Much later, September 4th. Right, yeah, September 4th. If you guys want a special,
So Southport has their own, but we're joining with Boothbay Harbor on ours.
yeah,
And
he asked me if we could
made
do,
that
a-
he made that decision?
yes.
Oh, okay. Enough said.
I was trying to get a later meeting because we got this in public forum. I said, it's not a lot of time, I don't know if I can get the whole board of selectmen there.
If it's the same information we got here when
Right.
Bob came to visit with us, it's not new information.
No.
No.
Next.
Next. So I put this on as a tax bill breakdown, and I prepared a memo because we've gotten, obviously, the rate increase that we've been talking about, which is probably the most resounding comment that I get most of the time is that people didn't know that the rate was an increase and that we should have discussed this more. But I know we've been talking about this for months, about a rate increase. And it's regrettable that people didn't know, but I think probably focusing on why is more important at this point in time than how they learned. So I prepared this memo for you guys really to be able to have kind of very strong black and white data as you engage with the public on why the tax rate has changed. But I'm going to go over it a little bit if you guys don't mind. So the tax rate for the last 5 years has been 0.00767 or $7.67 per thousand, and this year it increased to $8.40 per thousand, which is a 9.5% increase in taxes. The natural tendency of the taxpayers to be upset at the town of Boothbay because the tax bill is payable to the town of Boothbay, but the explanation is much more intricate. The town of Boothbay is the authority for collecting taxes due to the local education system, the county government system, and all other organizations that rely on property taxes. The tax bill breaks these down into the bill and distribution box on the left-hand side of your tax bill. Lots of people are doing the year-to-year analysis of that breakdown. In previous years, we split it up into more categories, but state law says there are only 3 categories you can list on your tax bill, which we did appropriately this year, and that's education, town of Boothbay, and the county. So if it doesn't match up with previous years, that's what the law says. The town of Boothbay portion breaks down further, but like I said, state law only allows for the 3 categories. The town of Boothbay further distributes to fire protection, ambulance services, refuse disposal services, and outside organizations governed by other entities. Therefore, local government control is small. And if the state law allowed it, our tax bill distribution would look like, as it's demonstrated there, 64% to the school, town of Boothbay services 13%, Lincoln County 13%, the refuse district overlay, and then ambulance services being minor portions. And essentially the town of Boothbay will raise more money than previous years, and this is why. Lincoln County raised their taxes 2.4%, an increase of $25,000. The school raised their assessment 2.8%, an increase of $142,000. And this is the one that really is driving the rate. State and economy-driven revenues decreased 29%, an increase of $308,000. The town of Boothbay has been able to avoid tax increases by relying on incremental increase in total property value. So I put a chart in there, and I'm afraid that not everybody's going to be able to see it that doesn't have a page here. I can make it available for the Register and Channel 7, demonstrating what's happening to Boothbay's state valuation. Now, this is state valuation, it's not exactly the same as valuation used for tax commitment, but the trend is still the same. It shows that value in the town is not increasing linear as to what it was doing in the early part of this century. So we don't have that luxury anymore. And then I didn't give you guys this, but if you look at just expenditures, so revenue is probably the biggest issue here. But if you look at expenditures, the town appropriation, which includes the operating budget, the refuse district, the ambulance service, all of those things, the total town appropriation, has actually, over the last 5 years, over that entire 5 years, only grown 3.9% over 5 years, which is less than 1% increase per year. It's not much extra spending, and that's usually everybody's first inclination is, well, we're spending too much. No, we're just making less money. But in comparison, if you look at the school increase over that same period of time, 5 years, is $500,000. So eventually, it needs to be paid somewhere. And I want everybody to recognize the real reasons when you pay your tax bill of the increase, and please don't take it out on the clerks. They have no authority in the tax rate, and only as residents. That's all I have on the tax bill breakdown. Any questions?
I just had one question, Jim. What's in overlay? 3% overlay?
Right, overlay is the amount of money that we appropriate above and beyond what the expenditures and revenues are. This year's overlay is a little bit larger in years past as a product of our undesignated fund, and it's not usually that large. Usually it's a micro fraction of a percent.
So you said the increase is very small. What is the school's over a 5-year span? Or is that including the school, that number you gave us?
Over 5 years, 11% increase.
School?
Yes.
And where 3?
3.9, including, that's everybody. The town itself has actually decreased in 5 years. So a credit to you guys.
The operation budget
The
of the town.
operation expense. has decreased. I don't have that number of exactly how much, but you guys know. You hold me to the fire every year.
So the budget that the state passed that cut revenue sharing, that's a 2-year package. So we're fixing the same thing next year too, right?
Well, yes, it's a 2-year package, so revenue sharing, but we've already absorbed the hit. I couldn't, unless there's other factors, and we always discuss this every time we do tax projections, if this, then that. Unless other factors impact, we've already accounted for next year's revenue in our tax rate.
Right, but what I'm getting at is, this isn't a 1-year hit and all of a sudden our tax rate's gonna go down below $8 next year.
Right.
It's not gonna happen if the state has their way.
Correct. And the state hit on revenues is multifaceted too. I mean, like we discussed, I think somebody asked what the hit on revenue sharing is. Revenue sharing, if paid at 100%, the town of Boothbay would make around $200,000. This year, we're gonna bring in $55,000.
And
So
that's not including the school.
that's not including school subsidy, that's just local
I
revenue.
mean, the school
sharing.
took a hit, assuming that's why their budget went up.
The state eliminated the Europe program that's paid for local roads and replaced it with the LRAP program. This year, we get paid almost the exact same amount we got paid last year. We budgeted for less because the advance warning was we were gonna lose 10%. But what they eliminated was the hold harmless amount that says you can never pay less than this amount. Well, they got rid of that, so they can pay less than that amount now.
Steve, if I remember right, when Eileen was here, she said the school wasn't gonna get affected. There was some calculations going on, and the revenue sharing loss wasn't gonna affect the school system.
The school saw increased subsidy this year, but I think teacher retirements had an impact on the budget.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they have to take
Right, 'cause
over
they
a
have to
percentage
pay
of that.
Yeah, I think this year too, they're starting pre-K. Whenever you add another grade, you're adding a layer of salaries.
Starting fresh.
But the knee-jerk reaction is to go cut services because of the horrible spending habits of your local government. And I'm here to say that our local government's spending habits are right on for the past 5 years.
Well, it is what it is. There's not a heck of a lot we can do about it.
Any additional questions? I can move on. So then, audit report, end of year financial report. We spent a very uncomfortable week last week with our auditors, but it was good. I've written you a memo. I'm going to read from it, but because everything that they reported back, it's hard to remember right off the top of my head. So we concluded all of the field work with the municipal auditor this week. It consisted of 1 day in June and 2 days last week. They brought in multiple people on each day to complete the work, and this is significantly less time than expended last year. Overall, the auditor was impressed with the work that the town has invested in financial record keeping, internal controls, procedure, process, reporting, and accountability. The auditor stated that the manager and deputy treasurer were extremely helpful, prepared, and efficient. You notice I like that plug in there, right? Preparation of financial statements will take some time, and a formal debriefing with the Board of Selectmen will be arranged, hopefully not as late in the year as we did last year. And the auditor is optimistic that all findings this year and last year will be eliminated in fiscal year 14. The undesignated fund, the calculation of the undesignated fund wasn't complete when they finished. There are still some factors that at play, but examination of expenditures was nearly complete, and the town as a whole operated within budget. And this is great news, obviously, because of all the mechanical repairs that we did last year in the aggressive winter. The auditor was impressed by the financial policies that you guys passed last year and its reliance on all factors of financial risk. They said it was a very complete financial policy. They recommended increased training of employees on fraud and ethics, which we'll implement this year. They did a real quick survey with me and one member of the staff. Did they call you yet? No? Just be scared of asking you about fraud. Areas to improve, the community resources account continues to be problematic, which we didn't fix last year because we ran out of time. Misclassifications of postings, which just means, we said that this expenditure went to this, but it was actually placed over here, which is kind of a small thing, but you'd rather find it before you get it to the auditor.
It's something that's gonna happen when you come up with a whole new chart of accounts, correct?
Yeah. The auditor thinks that most of these things are inconsequential, but we'll work on them. We're always trying to get better. Account coding on revenues and expenditures, and you'll see when you go through your warrant, every single thing has an account code written on it, and sometimes it gets a little monotonous because you'll see the account code in 3 different places. Time card reconciliation. At the beginning of the year, we were doing a very aggressive payroll, trying to get things done hastily. We fixed that halfway through the year. The auditor saw it, but they said, we're still going to prod you on this. More controls on new accounts. This is not an issue, but it's one of those things where they're telling you things in advance. Essentially, right now, by statute, the treasurer could create a new banking account if he wanted to, and I'm the treasurer. But I wouldn't do that without your permission, but nothing stops me from doing that. So we're going to add that into the policy this next year. And then more review on journal entries, and honestly, I just ran out of time, so I did spot checks, which they're happy with spot checks, but they'd like to see more. The auditor was satisfied that there are plans to rectify all areas for needed improvement and approves all the strategies. The greatest part is we had so much time that we could say, this is how we plan to fix that, and they gave us their blessing. And the auditor was also impressed with how serious internal controls are to the town. Any questions?
When do we expect an audit?
We're still doing final, I sent an email to Margarita Monday, so they're still doing audit stuff, they just don't have any field work. I'll find out soon.
Probably September.
Yeah, I think last year we were talking about September, October, and then we just sent more and more work, and
Seemed like it was the end of November.
Yeah, it was quite late.
It was late last year.
Late last year.
Right.
Is that it for reports?
That's all I have.
Old business, Cross River property.
You should have an old copy of the RFP in your packets, and you should have received a new copy, edited, with comments received in electronically, and I should have given that to Lucy on the table. So it's for your review.
So all the comments that you got from email are in this now.
I think I've addressed them.
Is that, the one in our packet, is that the same as this?
No.
No, the one in your
There's
packet
an old
is,
one in there.
don't refer to the one in your packet, refer to the one that's in
No,
the
let's not read it because,
He's got
oh,
one.
you got the current one, okay.
He gave us
Oh,
one.
okay, I thought it was just this one, sorry.
I distributed it early knowing that I didn't have as much time as I'd like to spend on it last week with the auditor, so I wanted to get comments in as quick as possible.
Did you, you did move the date,
Yes.
which makes sense because the reality of it is nothing would happen till May anyways.
The only rationale for December 6th is that I know right after that we'll be doing budgets, and so you can move that around all you want. If you were to post it immediately, that would give you, what, 4 months? Which is a lot, plenty of time, I think.
My only thought is the non-refundable deposit. If town meeting says no, why wouldn't we refund the deposit?
I didn't
Be it
know
a
what-
lease or,
I didn't know where to go with that. So non-refundable is kind of a process that we do a lot with tax acquired, and that's why it's in there. But if you guys don't like it, we can nix it.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe a
There's too
refundable
much-
deposit?
Yeah, I would think you'd have to because there's too much unknowns. There really is, it's a good point. Oops, I'm sorry, Henry.
I know you talked previously about where you wanted to send this. This, what you gonna call it, proposal. I seem to remember many years ago that it actually, an RFP was sent to USA Today newspaper to give wider distribution of anybody that might want to do whatever.
My feeling, I can only speak.
There's money involved in it.
My feeling, I can only speak for myself, but if we were gonna do anything with this, I think it should stay local, if at all possible. That's my personal feeling. I mean, I'd rather hear from local people first.
Depends on what you're calling local, I guess.
Yeah.
You're talking just the register?
No, but I'm not saying just the, I guess not the paper, I'm not talking about the paper, but the USA Today is gonna reach people from all over the country. I would rather reach people locally first, because local people are what built the region, and I'd like to keep it that way, personally.
Keep it off the internet.
Just gonna say,
Well-
the Associated Press is, once you put it in the Portland paper, it's coast to coast.
I mean, I can imagine the USA Today would be big bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Portland Press, for a little tiny ad, it's like $1,000.
Yeah.
For a good sized ad, the register's not always cheap either, so.
No, true.
Well,
well,
Ryan
let me
got
ask
an apple
this.
on it,
When you put property out for sale, where do you put it?
When we put it out to sale, we have historically used local papers.
Then why would we do anything different for this piece?
I mean, I think the Register had, Ryan, you're not in advertisements, I know, but Don't you have like a 4-package deal, 3-package deal or something with, like, you know what I mean, with the Wiscasset newspaper, Lincoln County News?
Well,
and-
it's all changed since we've been online, but you can buy a package to go online and for print. And I'm not in the ad department, so I don't know any of the prices.
But do you know the 3, isn't that 3 or 4 papers you use? You know what I
We
mean?
use the Wiscasset and the Boothbay Register.
I thought the Lincoln County was part of it too.
No, no.
Yeah.
The only and the people that print our paper is the Times Record out of Brunswick.
I thought they had a package where you could include the Lincoln County News, because that would be the only other one that would make sense to me, because it's Lincoln County.
Yeah, keep it the same as all the other,
Mhm.
so there's no reason to be any different, I would think.
Yeah, we usually, we would make a sale of any other property that are, the ad available electronically. I mean, people want it, they can have it.
And the only other change that I would say that you might do is put it on the website, on our website, with a link or something to the information. If we can find someone local that has a good idea with that piece of property, it makes much more sense than somebody that lives in California that wants to do something with it.
In previous minutes, it was discussed to put it in the Kennebec Journal, put it in the Capitol.
I don't remember the discussion, but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
No, I remember the discussion, but I don't think we ever
There was no
formalized
decision.
consensus
No.
or voted.
Why would it be any different than any other?
I agree. However, we advertise the tax.
Quiet properties,
tax
that's right.
claims.
It's the same process,
Probably, yeah.
same advertisement process.
But we still have to edit this now, right, to make it, get rid of the non-refundable?
Just, yeah, just put that.
Yeah,
one-
I've already kind of nixed
Yeah.
mine, so if that's the only thing you find you can approve with changes.
No, I would move we approve it with that one change.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve it with the one change of changing it to a refundable deposit instead of non-refundable deposit. Any more comment?
My only comment is, you guys know how I feel right from the beginning, and if I was to change my mind midway, I wouldn't feel right, so.
Understand. I wouldn't expect it to. All right, all those in favor?
Yep.
I know what you mean. Opposed?
Opposed.
4 to 1.
Sometimes force it happens.
Yeah, we almost did, yeah. Fee schedule.
Did you ever in that discussion, I'm not sure I got it, did you ever in that discussion come up with where you were going to advertise it, or is that still up in the air?
Same as we've done with our tax acquired property.
So the fee schedule you've had in your possession for a little while, it's on our website as well. Administration wasn't necessarily pushing for any changes to fees, but, you know, also Dan has put together that spreadsheet to show you comparables. You know, last year you guys did a lot of work on fees. The only one that I said is out of duty, because I said I would say it, was the single day liquor license.
Yeah. In looking them over, that was the only thing that I found that seemed to be even a little out of line, was the liquor license and the contract zoning application. Those were the only two things that I saw that were generally more than the rest of the towns.
But basically, it's working okay, correct?
Yeah, and honestly, my opinion is that you did such a radical change last year. Let's let a little bit of time elapse and see what happens. You know, a year is not a lot of time to test a fee.
I mean, my suggestion would be to leave it alone.
I haven't heard anybody complain about a fee in the last year.
Well, I have, but that's because I get building permits more than you do.
So
I
in
heard
other
a lot
words,
of
you're the
people
one
paid the
complaining.
old fee
No,
and
no.
saw them change.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard people happy about it.
I was just looking at the spreadsheet that we were given, we're in line with most.
Exactly.
Right.
We might be a little
Yeah.
higher on something, but lower on others.
But then when you think about the radical change last year,
Right.
you weren't in line last year, so
We slashed a lot last year.
yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And to be honest, it looks like we're actually cheaper than our neighbors to the south.
Which, you know what, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Most
No,
of
I wasn't
the,
saying that
most
it
of the,
was.
Right.
most of the complaints that I've been getting is, why didn't we change them sooner? It was people who got permits the year before, and then we changed them and they went, gee, do I get a refund? I said, no.
Why did they wait a year? So if you don't do anything, these fees continue, but I would recommend as a practice, that are in the minutes, that that you approve as presented.
Keep the current fee
Yeah.
schedule the same.
Yeah, just so that we have a constant record in the minutes
So
every
moved.
time we check.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to keep the fee schedule the same as last year. Any more discussion? All those in favor? New business, town manager contract.
We did my performance review at the last meeting and had some follow-up that we wanted to do that Chuck was gonna take care of.
Chucky in his due diligence, which I wouldn't expect that's a compliment, but he's a nitpicker and he found the contract was great. So, I mean, as far as it matched everything that our attorney had found, other than dates. Any more that you want to add, Chuck?
No? No, I just compared the one that Sally had sent to us with the one that Jim had sent to us. And as I shared with Stevie, the dates were different because it's a different date.
Right.
And the year end, as well as when we would just start to discuss a possible extension, those dates were moved up by a year. The compensation was changed because of the fact that he'd received a raise prior to this contract.
So what is the motion we need?
Motion to approve as presented.
Approve a three-year employment agreement. with the-
Or deny, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Just curious, I thought that's what you said.
I would say a motion to approve a three-year employment agreement with James Chairs
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to go on record that I came down here to the office yesterday and had a good conversation with Jim. We discussed a few things, and I'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Tom.
So I guess we should sign this.
That's the only thing that's been warned, we can sign that.
Yep.
Everything else is addendum.
Oops. What did I do with mine? There it is. All right, and you don't have any other new business?
I have nothing else.
Okay. That brings us to our next public comment. Nancy?
Hi there. I'm actually coming to you in regards to the appointment process that happened at your last meeting. I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you. During my last 9 years on the planning board and a total of 12 consecutive years served for the town of Boothbay, I can count on one hand how many meetings I missed. I feel that during my tenure on the board, I was always supportive of residential and business application. I was very surprised and confused by the Board of Selectmen's decision not to reappoint me for another 3-year term. So I have some questions that I'd like to answer. One of my questions is it normal procedure to ask somebody if they'd be reappointed and then not to reappoint them and not have any discussion? I think it would be very courteous to the person you asked if they'd like to be reappointed to come to a meeting and talk to them. The way it came across as if you guys were dissatisfied with my service but weren't willing to talk about it.
I can answer about the check-in with previous appointments if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, so administration takes the list of expiring appointments and asks everybody if they would like to be reconsidered for an appointment. So I can say we do that on our own to bring that list to the selectmen because the list is pretty large when considering all boards.
My other question is, it looks like I watched the meeting several times, and it looks looks like the decision was made ahead of time. Can you guys address that? And if so, why did not come and discuss anything with my service, or anything with the board?
I can only speak for myself. I was one of the naysayers, and I had no decision made in my head until literally the moment the vote was cast.
Can you give me a reason?
Can I give you a reason? Well, you know yourself, I've attended several of the planning board meetings upon request by people in the town. I just think that we needed to put the planning board in a new direction.
Wouldn't it have been beneficial if you had gone to the planning board and talked to them?
Yes, but at the same token, myself and other selectmen, because I won't toss anybody else, have been attending those meetings at times when needed or when felt necessary by the public. So I kind of think that spells it out without having to necessarily say anything.
No, it doesn't. You're not answering my question. I want to know why. I want an answer.
The answer is, as far as I'm concerned, and only me, is that I think the planning board needs to go into a different direction.
And what direction is that?
Just a business-friendly direction, the same philosophy as the board of selectmen.
So you're saying I wasn't business friendly?
Which is kind of how I knew this conversation would go.
I would like to know why, because I have not voted against any business applications.
I understand.
I may be thorough and ask additional questions, but I'm doing that in concern of the town.
If it helps the selectmen, you can make a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters on appointments pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A if appropriate.
You did this in public, I think you should do it in public, answer my questions. I think especially somebody that's served 12 years for the town.
I just felt we need a new change, so. I mean, I went to some of your meetings and some of them I wasn't too happy with.
Douglas, why didn't you ever come to me, or come to the board?
Yeah, they don't have to do that. I mean, I can make the decisions here, not in front of your board. So.
It's like you're not going to give me any type of answer to this, so I will let it go. But I just think it's really in poor taste of how you treat volunteers. And I know probably part of it came up is that I was the chairman for 5 years, but I want to go on the record, every year, I did not want to take that, and I asked my board for somebody else to step up, and they never did. And I just think it's really sad that somebody who's worked for the town for 12 years is treated this way. It's very disrespectful.
Never meant to be.
That's the way it comes across.
I understand.
Thank you.
Any more public comment? We only got 3 more publics. Review the warrants and sign.
Come on.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Motion to adjourn?
There we go, motion.
Second.
All those in favor?